Welcome back to CIA Declassified. First off, if you're new to this podcast, I just want you to know we've got tons of episodes on various different types of animals that the CIA has used to remotely control, as well as to release payloads, as well as to take photos, as well as to plant bombs, as well as to locate sunken torpedoes. There's a lot of animal training and utilization that the Central Intelligence Agency was using for a long time. Long time as in decades. There's no doubt about it. They've definitely mastered these things, even though they're not declassified. But there's no way that they could have been doing some of the things they were doing in the 50s and 60s with animals and not have made major leaps since then. So I'm letting you know that in case this particular topic is of interest for you. That way you know that there's lots of episodes that you will be able to find that have to do with other animals, and particularly quite a few with birds. I've still got more declassified files on what the CIA has done with birds to release in future episodes. Anyway, today we are heading to a secret training facility in the American Southwest circa 1970. A small drone buzzes in the sky, a stand-in for an enemy reconnaissance aircraft. On the ground, a handler releases a magnificent hawk primed to intercept. The hawk soars, it locks onto the drone, it attacks, but not the drone. It attacks the camera crew. This is the Reiser bird mess. The CIA had a problem: how to counter small, silent enemy drones without using expensive missiles. A private contractor, only identified as Mr. Reiser in the declassified documents, proposed a solution as old as time: Raptors. What followed was a multi-million-dollar fiasco that saw the agency's top brass scrambling for bandages and trying to explain why their anti-drone program was being eaten alive. Mr. Reiser promised a natural solution to a high-tech problem. The agency bought in big time. The Directorate of Science and Technology contracted Mr. Reiser's company in 1968 to develop a program to train large birds of prey, specifically goshawks and red-tailed hawks, to identify and attack small enemy aircraft. A quote from a declassified DST project proposal: "The avian interceptor offers a discreet and cost-effective method of neutralizing enemy aerial reconnaissance platforms operating below radar detection and without the need for sophisticated missile systems." End quote. Initial test involved attaching miniature grappling hooks to the bird's talons designed to snag the propellers or wings of small drones, causing them to crash. These hooks often became entangled in the birds themselves. The CIA built specialized drone-shaped lures filled with raw meat, hoping to condition the hawks to associate the target with a reward. However, the birds quickly learned to differentiate between the treat drone and the actual unyielding metal target. A quote from an internal memorandum from this project evaluations team: "Asset number 7, a female goshawk, demonstrated excellent target acquisition skills, but consistently chose to attack the fiberglass camera housing on the observation tower rather than the designated target drone." End quote. The birds required a staggering amount of food, and the agency's budget for avian sustenance quickly ballooned, with internal complaints about having to order grade A pheasant and quail for the feathered operatives. The CIA investigated using sonic deterrents to keep the birds from attacking personnel, but the high-frequency sounds only agitated the raptors further, leading to more unprovoked aggression. To improve identification, the agency painted some drones with natural predator markings, like large eyes, which only confused the hawks and sometimes caused them to freeze in mid-air. One declassified incident report details how a trained hawk mistakenly attacked a passing U.S. Army helicopter, causing superficial damage to the rotor blades in a very awkward phone call to the Pentagon. The project included a short-lived attempt to train messenger ravens, which predictably preferred to steal documents rather than deliver them. Mr. Reiser famously argued that the birds needed psychological conditioning, suggesting that the CIA built small mock enemy bases for the birds to attack to satisfy their predatory instincts. The project's veterinary bills were astronomical due to the birds frequently injuring themselves during training, often by flying into fences or concrete walls when disoriented. A significant portion of the budget went into creating a fail-safe retrieval system, essentially a large remotely operated net that would descend if a hawk went rogue during a training exercise. The CIA considered equipping the birds with tiny remote-controlled taser collars, but the idea was rejected due to ethical concerns and the likelihood of electrocuting the bird mid-flight. The Reiser bird mess was officially terminated after a particularly aggressive hawk destroyed a prototype high-altitude balloon designed for intelligence gathering, costing the agency hundreds of thousands of dollars. A later internal review suggested that the entire project was founded on a misunderstanding of avian predatory behavior, stating, quote, "A hawk hunts for food, not for geopolitical advantage," end quote. Contract records show that Mr. Reiser attempted to pivot the project by suggesting suicide hawks carrying small explosive charges, a concept that was flatly rejected by agency lawyers fearing unintended collateral carnage. A quote from the field handler's log. "The red-tailed hawk, designated Red 1, has developed a habit of diving toward the radar dish whenever it is activated, seemingly attracted by the heat or the vibration. The equipment damage is becoming untenable," end quote. The CIA actually attempted to use bird-mounted cameras during these tests to see through the hawk's eyes, but the rapid head movements of the Raptors made the footage so dizzying that analysts suffered from motion sickness. Internal memos reveal a dispute over bird pensions, as trainers argued that hawks that were retired from the program due to injury should be cared for by the agency for life, creating a long-term financial liability. To solve the handler attack problem, the agency commissioned specialized full-body Kevlar falconry suits, making the trainers look like medieval knights, which reportedly made the hawks even more aggressive due to the strange visual silhouette. When you get to the financial overruns and incident reports for the Reiser bird mess, the black bars are as thick as a hawk's wing. The heaviest redactions are in the personnel injury logs. Speculation suggests these bars hide the fact that several CIA trainers were severely maimed by the birds, with a blacked out text describing grotesque injuries that the agency wanted to keep out of the public eye. Further speculation surrounds the missing Raptor section. Conspiracy theorists believe the redacted text describes a high-value hawk that escaped the facility still equipped with its prototype grappling hooks, and the black bars hide the CIA's frantic effort to track a weaponized bird through the American wilderness. There is a persistent theory that the redactions hide the Soviet counter-program. Speculation holds that the KGB had their own bird training scheme, and the black bars hide a memo detailing how a Soviet-trained falcon actually captured one of Reiser's hawks. Some speculate the redactions hide the animal cruelty charges. The theory is that Mr. Reiser's training methods were highly abusive, and the bars hide the details of a PETA investigation that the CIA managed to suppress. Conspiracy theorists often point to the deep space connection. The speculation is that the CIA was trying to train the hawks to attack alien drones, and the redacted files hide the correlation between hawk aggression and UFO sightings in the area. Finally, there is speculation that the hawks weren't biological at all, but early biomechanical drones designed to look and act like the birds, and the black bars hide the embarrassing fact that the robots were malfunctioning and attacking everyone. There is some speculation that the redacted contractor payments hide the fact that Mr. Reiser was actually a front for a mafia organization that was laundering money through the bird program. Some theorists believe the avian defection section hides the fact that a large number of trained hawks simply flew away during testing, taking their expensive equipment with them, and the bars hide the cost of lost assets. A persistent theory suggests the redactions hide the parrot protocol, speculation that the CIA also attempted to train parrots to mimic enemy radio chatter, and the black bars hide the unintended messages they recorded. Finally, some speculate the redactions hide the media suppression logs showing how the CIA quashed local news reports of giant birds attacking military bases during the peak of the Reiser project. Rumors circulate that the redactions in the target profile section hide a plan to train the hawks to specifically target the bald heads of high-ranking Soviet officials, using the birds as a form of biological harassment. Some even think that the blacked-out chemical training section hides the use of pheromones sprayed on enemy targets to make the birds go into a killing frenzy, and the bars hide the instances where the spray accidentally hit friendly troops. There is even a theory that the end-of-project redactions hide the location of a bird sanctuary where the weaponized hawks were dumped, and that the black bars hide reports of aggressive hook-taloned birds still living in that specific forest. Conspiracy theorists suggest the redactions in the acoustic trigger section hide the fact that the hawks were being controlled via brain-implanted chips, and the black bars hide the technical failures of the neurolinks. Finally, some speculate the redactions hide the executive summary where the CIA director allegedly ordered that all hawks in the program be liquidated to prevent their specialized training from falling into enemy hands. The Reiser bird mess. Was it a success? As an operational deployment, an absolute failure. The birds were uncontrollable, expensive, and a danger to anyone with within a talon's reach. But as a learning experience, it taught the CIA a valuable lesson about the limits of animal training in sophisticated warfare. You can't put a leash on nature, especially when it's hungry. Even in disaster, there are lessons learned and some operational breakthroughs from this, such as animal behavior protocol. The program's failures led to more stringent ethical guidelines and scientific oversight for future animal-based projects. Drone vulnerability. The attacks highlighted how fragile early drones were, leading to more robust designs and improved anti-bird measures. Feathered countermeasures. The agency learned what not to do if an enemy tried to use animals against them, leading to deterrence for future animal assets. And advanced containment systems. The need to contain aggressive raptors led to the development of safer enclosures and handling techniques for dangerous wildlife. The Reiser bird mess proves that sometimes the most cutting-edge intelligence solutions can come with a very sharp beak. Thanks for listening to this episode. Next time we examine Operation Snatch. How do you capture a high-value target from behind enemy lines when conventional exfiltration is impossible? The CIA's answer was straight out of a James Bond movie, the Skyhook. We'll look at the declassified scheme to pluck agents and even people from the ground using a special harness and a low-flying cargo plane. From balloon-lifted lines to mid-air grabs, we uncover the breathtaking and terrifying reality of the agency's most daring retrieval method. Join us for the human kite. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.